Welcome back to Sneaks Chat. My name is Jacob Moriello. This is the second episode of this year, 2023. Hopefully, I can make more episodes after this. But I just hopped on here to discuss some Eagles news with you guys, trying to break down what was happening with the Philadelphia Eagles after they selected their picks in the 2023 NFL draft. And I really like the way the 2023 draft picks turned out. I mean, Eli Ricks, the cornerback that the Eagles picked, Sidney Brown, the offensive lineman from Alabama, and then Jalen Carter, Nolan Smith, Sidney Brown, I absolutely love. And then Christian Elias, the linebacker, I really like him especially because after losing TJ Edwards and Kaiser White in free agency, a lot of people doubted the Philadelphia Eagles with those positions. After the Eagles let go C.J. Gardner-Johnson, after that whole happened in the offseason, after the Super Bowl just happened, I just feel like people were over-exaggerating how poorly those two positions were for the Philadelphia Eagles. After that game and after free agency hit and those players left the Eagles, I just feel like the Philadelphia Eagles drafted very well, signed a lot of guys in that position to fulfill those spots, those holes, and they drafted a lot of good guys in that position. You have Nakobe Dean, who is going to be a monster in that role, and hopefully Nolan Smith will get touches there. Christian Elias will get some as well, and with the safety position, ever since C.J. Gardner-Johnson left, every storyline that I hear from that position in training camp was Reed Blankenship, undrafted guy last year who really played very well when C.J. Gardner-Johnson was on the IR. He played very, very well. But before I get into that, I have some news. I have a trivia question for you guys. Since the Kelly Green jerseys will be available to be worn this year, who was the last player on the Eagles who wore Kelly Green jerseys? And I will give you guys options because it's possibly hard, right? So I got here A, Lane Johnson, B, Jason Kelsey, C, Brandon Graham, D, Fletcher Cox, or all of the above. That last one is a gimme, like, that can't be the answer. But there's only one guy on that team. Yes, it's a long tenure player, so don't give me three-year veterans or 3-year season players. I want 11-year veterans, 14-year veterans. Just pick one. There's only one correct answer. I will announce it at the end of the show. So whoever is watching this, whoever is watching my show, you at the end of this show, I will reveal what the answer is. But Until then, I will discuss with you about why the Eagles have so much depth in the linebacker position and the safety position, and I will be breaking down for you why Colin Cowherd doesn't know what he's talking about leaving Jalen Hurts and A.J. Brown off his top 10 passing duos of the 2023 season, and I will be discussing with you the trade value for Derek Barnett, the defensive end for the Philadelphia Eagles. He announced yesterday that he wants out of Philadelphia and he wants to have more playing time on other teams. So, basically, before I start this podcast, A.J. Brown was in a press conference, and he was asked about what advice he would give to younger players on the team to get ready for the season or possibly week 1. And this is what he said. He said, "Let your preparation speak for itself. Come to work and get ready to handle your business and knowing your assignment." That's basically like an A.J. Brown type advice that he would give. I mean, A.J. Brown is straightforward. It's show up or go home. That's it. If you don't know what you're doing, if you are walking into the building with no energy and no effort to play the game the correct way, you won't be a Philadelphia Eagle that long. They want fire players. They want players to fight until the end. They want players to be tough, physical, and you need to be mentally prepared as well. If not, you are off the team. That's it. And he talks about his relationship with Brian Johnson as well. I feel like there is a lot of players around the league, or a lot of analysts around the league, or anchors that probably think the Eagles don't have enough effort to return to the Super Bowl. We'll see. This year is a tough schedule. So I'll break down the teams that we played last year who could be much better this year, except Arizona. Arizona, we played last year. Unfortunately, they are in the rebuilding stage of their team, so they won't be good until I don't know when. But we did play Minnesota, the Vikings, and the 49ers, and I'll break down Minnesota. I feel like we can beat Minnesota. I think we are on the same level as the Chiefs, but the Niners, I feel like we are on the same level as all three of them teams. But the one team I feel like can really separate from the Eagles when they play the Eagles this season, and I will break down why that team will have more energy to win against Philadelphia Eagles. I want the Eagles to win every game, but that's not how it works. That's not how the season works. You're going to lose games. This is going to be a tough schedule, and we are going to lose games against mediocre teams, very good teams, or very bad teams. It's how it goes. But the regular season doesn't define who we are unless we make the playoffs. If we don't make the playoffs, that's going to be a big issue. But I don't see that happening. So bringing down, the reason why I brought up that is because the Eagles have so many things to overcome. Adversity. They have adversity once again to go over the hump again and return to the Super Bowl. And number one, they lost both of their coordinators. They lost a lot on their defense. They lost a lot on their offense in terms of running back, and they just lost their running back in Miles Sanders. So they didn't really lose much on the offensive side of the ball, but defensive side of the ball, they lost a lot of key pieces. So they lost Marcus Epps as well. So that's going to be a huge loss, but once again, Sidney Brown is going to really take over that role for Marcus Epps, I feel like. But, so the Eagles have a lot of adversity. They signed a lot of running backs, so that's going to be a good sign for Jalen Hurts to really stand back on running the ball that much. I think that is why the Eagles signed Penny, Swift, and then they re-signed Boston Scott, and they have Kenneth Gainwell. So they have 4 good running backs, plus they have a number 1 running back in Hurts. So, I feel like, the Eagles are pretty good in the running back position. Jonathan Taylor, I feel like, I'm going to shoot down rumors from that. Of course, Indianapolis said that they shut down any trade right now because they didn't find any fair trade from Jonathan Taylor. But if they were still exploring trades, Philadelphia isn't really going to be interested since they have 5 legit running backs. So the reason why I brought up Brian Johnson is because Brian Johnson is going to be the new offensive coordinator, and the Philadelphia Eagles wasn't going to hire somebody that didn't have a lot of good qualities in them as a coach, and they also needed relationships with the players. So, this is what A.J. Brown said on Brian Johnson. He said he recruited me to Mississippi State. He sat in my living room, and he said no, he did not go to Mississippi State. And he built a good relationship throughout the years. And he said last year he really built a relationship with him. And with him even more. Now he knows what we like, and it's easy to communicate with him. So that's a really good sign by A.J. Brown, the number 1 wide receiver for the Eagles. If the number 1 wide receiver isn't on the same page, that's going to be an issue. So that's a good sign from A.J. Brown, that he's on the same page with Brian Johnson, and he has a good relationship with him in the NFL and past years as well. So, with the training camp, before I get into the training camp, rookies and who I got impressed with, really the 2 players that really interested me the most was Christian Elias, the linebacker, and the safety Sidney Brown. I feel like those 2 players really, and Zach Cunningham too. Zach Cunningham is going to be the starter, and he's going to be the starter. Christian Elias is going to be on the team. He's not going to start, but he's going to be in that third team role. So we'll see what happens. Reed Blankenship really impressed the Eagles in OTAs and training camp. So we'll see what happens with that. But Derek Barnett, the Philadelphia Eagles announced yesterday that Derek Barnett wants out of Philadelphia, and he wants to be a starter somewhere else. And and that's coming from Timothy Rapp, the article writer, and he never lived up to the first round pick that the Philadelphia Eagles drafted. They thought they would get a really good defensive end out of Tennessee, so he never lived up to that potential. He was getting hurt, and we know the story that he always got flags called on him because he always rushes the passer, pulls the defender's jerseys, or knocks down the quarterback way too hard. He does something stupid every single game, and it costs us because it's 3rd and 5, 3rd and 8, or 4th and 5, and they're going for it. And, Barnett tackles the guy. We're like, hooray. And, it's not really exciting because there's a flag, and we know it's on Barnett. He's very injury prone. He's very aggressive. He's very reckless in rushing the passer. He doesn't know how to control himself. And that is why he's not the starter. He's not. And that is why, the player that really, really impressed me the most is Josh Sweat in that position, the defensive end. He really impressed me the most. He in 2022, the sacks, he had 11 sacks, 37 solo sacks, 17 assists, 15 total foursome loss yards, 23 quarterback hits, 1 interception, and in the playoffs he had 1.5 sacks, 4 solo tackles, 3 assists, 4 total quarterback hits, and I really liked the way Josh Sweat played. And so the one example that, I really liked from Josh Sweat in this past season was against the Chicago Bears. The Chicago Bears are just a tough team to play. And, Josh Sweat really bullied the 2 defenders in left tackle Broxton Jones, who was number 70, and Cody Whitehair, who was number 65. And against the Bears, it was on the Bears, it was either on the 40 or the Bears 45. So it was close to the Eagles, touchdown. And so the way that Josh Sweat was positioned all the way to his right side, all the way, and he was stationed there. And next to him on his left was Javon Hargrave. I will talk about him when I talk about the Niners because he signed a 4-year deal with the Niners. So I'm pretty excited about talking about the Niners, but not really because we beat down on the Niners, but I feel like the Niners will beat the Philadelphia Eagles this year. I feel like they have enough power and enough. They were pretty upset when we beat them in the playoffs, and we were talking smack on them, and Deebo Samuel came back and said we, didn't have players to play with. We were very injury prone. That's a paraphrase that I said. He didn't really say, but that's around what he was saying. So Josh Sweat was stationed on his right side, and the ball was snapped, and number 70 went up to Josh Sweat, and Javon Hargrave faked out his defender in Cody Whitehair, and instead blocked number 70, and Josh Sweat went around Javon Hargrave, went down the middle, made a swim move on Cody Whitehair right down the middle, and just sacked the Bears quarterback. So that's pretty cool of what Josh Sweat can do and what creativity that the Eagles did with Josh Sweat. That was a pretty good write-up by Jonathan Gannon last year, but this year I feel like Josh Sweat is going to be very good under Sean Desai. So I thought that was a pretty good move by Josh Sweat. I feel like Josh Sweat deserves to be in the starter role. Unfortunately, Derek Barnett isn't going to get in that starting role position. So, I really like the way our defensive ends are set up. So, moving on to the rookies. The rookies, I already stated who I got impressed with. A lot of rookies that I really got impressed with, that I really like, was the cornerback Eli Ricks, and I don't have him in here because that's not what my main goal is to talk about. My main goal is to talk about the linebacker position and the safety position. I feel like a lot of people, like I said earlier in this video is based off of, okay, you guys are wrong about the Eagles' depth. The Eagles have a lot of players in those positions that can play. I'm not saying they can be starters. Sidney Brown, if he gets developed, if he is developed the right way, he will be a starter. Eli Ricks, if he gets developed, will be a starter soon in the NFL. And if Christian Elias gets developed the correct way, he will also be a starter in this league. So it depends on, I feel like this is ways. Zach Cunningham will be the starting player next to the other starting linebacker next to in the linebacker position, and then it's going to be Reed Blankenship and Sidney Brown, and the other safety, the Eagles released Kayvon Wallace, who is, I'm glad he's off the team, because it's worthless to be on the roster and not see a lot of playing time. But in the OTAs, those were the names that were very hot in training camp and OTAs, and when they played Baltimore, the Browns, and the Colts, those guys really stood out to me. Other guys stood out to me, but those guys really took a really big blueprint from me. I feel like they really stood out the most. So why do the Eagles have a lot of players in that position? I will discuss to you why. Sidney Brown, before I talk about Sidney Brown, Zach Cunningham, the linebacker. He was off from the Colts against the Ravens. The quarterback on the Ravens gets an opening on the left side. He runs up to the line of scrimmage and gets a first down, and Cunningham comes flying to his right side and uses his speed to tackle the quarterback down. I mean, that's pretty simple where that is going. Where Zach Cunningham was going. He got a first down and nobody was tackling the quarterback down, and Cunningham just literally used his speed to tackle him down. Against the the Browns, the Browns were up to the goal line, and the running back Kelly Jr. runs up the middle, and Cunningham shows that physical awareness and just rips the football out of Kelly's hands. So I'm betraying the physical traits out of Zach Cunningham and the speed that Zach Cunningham has. So we didn't really lose much in the linebacker position, other than losing T.J. Edwards and Marcus Epps. Those were, I'm sorry, I'm just naming safeties. We lost Marcus Epps was a safety. But T.J. Edwards was a linebacker. We lost him, and we gained back two safeties. Now, we didn't play the regular season yet against starting players. So Zach Cunningham might not even do well. But I doubt that he will do that. I could see him being a guy that can contribute very well in the defense. And Reed Blankenship is going to be the starter. Put him down to discuss why he's a starter. He just knows excuse me. He knows where he moves. He's already moving before the ball is even snapped. He reads the offenses. He knows where the ball is going. He knows how to make the other team, hate him. He knows what to do already. So, Christian Elias, again, he's that physical. He shows that physical tool again. Once again, these linebackers are very physical, and that's why they are on the team, because Sean Diaz is the guy who wants that physicality on the team. So, against Baltimore, Justice Hill, the Baltimore's running back, is running up to the left, and he gets a block from his teammate on the right side, and Elias comes over, and Hill runs into the blocker, and Elias just pushes the defender out of the way and tackles Hill, but kind of got tangled up, but he still made the play. It's a very impressive move by Elias. That's really impressive. Very impressive. Against the Browns, I'm going to take these ums out. Look how I'm saying a lot of ums. Once again. So against the Browns, the quarterback, it was a play action. It was a play action type play. It was a bubble pass play screen to the running back, and on the left side, Elias shows that aggressive tool that he once showed against Baltimore. Against the Browns, the play gets past an offensive lineman, so Christian Elliott gets past an offensive lineman and blocks. So Elliott's I'm sorry. My notes are terrible. Terrible. I wrote down these notes, and I can't even read my own handwriting. So I'm trying to see what I wrote 2 days ago. So Elliott's against the Browns. Let me try this again. Sorry. It was a play action. It was a play action type play, and it was a bubble pass to the running back on the left side, and Elliott shows that physical tool to the running back, and he gets past an offensive lineman. Elliott gets past an offensive lineman, and to tackle the running back to loss of yards. And then another play, it was a short pass to Kelly Jr. Midfield against the Browns, and Elliott just sticks him like butter. Sticks him like he was a rock. So he just literally showed that physicality. Elliott is very strong. It feels like you can't get past Elliott. He is like a statue. So Sidney Brown, once again, Sidney Brown is a very physical safety, and he can use that speed to get to different areas of the field. If he's that backups safety net for you guys. If the cornerback gets in trouble, he's there to tackle down the opponent, and he uses that speed. His speed is, he reminds me of Malcolm Jenkins / Troy Polamalu. They were very strong of cutting up the middle to tackle the running back or the quarterback, whatever play that the other team is running. And Sidney Brown, shows that tool very well. I mean, he has that aggressiveness in him, and Sidney Brown, to me, he uses his body, his hip to tackle players. If he can't get to them fully, he uses that hip to really knock down the opponent, to really throw them off balance. So he has that advantage on him. So that's really the way Sidney Brown is like. If you saw the documentary on Sidney Brown and his brother Chase, they had a very rough childhood. They were homeless, and then they had to face adversity, and somehow they made it to the NFL, and that was a great storyline. So the way that Sidney Brown plays is very, very hard. He wants to win because I feel like he doesn't want to go back to where he was as a child. So that I feel like he's putting everything on the line on the football field. So I feel like he's going to be very good as a football player. And so, I think those three players, another thing that I wrote down for Sidney Brown was when he played the last preseason game against the Colts. He gets up to the pocket and makes the quarterback gets up to the pocket, makes the short pass to the tight end, and the defender misses the play, and Sidney Brown comes out of nowhere and clips the Colts player. That's basically what I told you already. But he uses a part of his body to, really use that speed and use a part of the body to really throw opponents off, to, tackle them down and make them feel like they are not the ones who can, beat Sidney Brown. Sidney Brown, I feel like, is the guy who will make opponents feel like they didn't win on that play. So this is where I got upset with Colin Cowart's list. His list goes basically like this: Jamar Chase, Joe Burrow; Trevor Lawrence, Calvin Ridley; Travis Kelce, Patrick Mahomes; Aaron Rodgers, Garrett Wilson; Derek Carr and Chris Olave; Josh Allen and Stephon and Diggs; Kirk Cousins and Justin Jefferson; Dak Prescott and CeeDee Lamb; Tua and Tyreek Hill; Jared Goff and Amon St. Brown. That list is just terrible. Terrible. The way they were ranked was just out of place. First off, I understand about 1 and 2 or 1 and 3. Trevor Lawrence and Calvin Ridley shouldn't be up on that list high. I understand if you put them at maybe 6, but 1 and 2 should always automatically be Jamar Chase, Travis Kelce, Joe Burrow, and Patrick Mahomes at 1 and 2. Those are the number 2s. Number 1 and number 2. The Bengals and the Chiefs. But the one issue that I have is I'm a Eagles fan. And the one issue that I have is, where the heck is Jalen Hurts and A.J. Brown? That's where I want to know. Because on this list, Derek Carr and Chris Olave, please tell me why they are in the top 10. Please. Because that's what I want to know. Why is Derek Carr and Chris Olave at number 5 and not Jalen Hurts and A.J. Brown? That's what I want to know. Because, listen, I understand about Aaron Rodgers and Garrett Wilson. They are going to have a huge year. Like it or not, they are going to have a huge year together. Because re-evaluating this list and relisting this list, 1 and 2 are, 1 through 3 is simple. Number 4 is Aaron Rodgers and Garrett Wilson. Number 5 should be Jalen Hurts and A.J. Brown. And, you can decide the rest. But the reason why I put Aaron Rodgers and Garrett Wilson ahead of A.J. Brown and Jalen Hurts is because with the way that Aaron Rodgers left the Green Bay Packers, I feel like he left the Green Bay Packers in good hands with Jordan Love. I feel like Jordan Love is creating that relationship with Christian Watson and Romeo Doubs. I feel like those 2 players are going to have a very great year. The reason why I put Aaron Rodgers at number 4 and not Jalen Hurts is because of the way Aaron Rodgers has a relationship with younger players. He built a young, solid wide receiver core in Green Bay. He left a very solid wide receiver duo. He developed them throughout the season, and he developed Christian Watson into a star. Christian Watson is going to be a star. He's going to be the number 1 in Green Bay. He is already the number 1. So Jordan Love and Watson are going to have a great year, and that is why I put Jalen Hurts behind him. Because as much as, Jalen Hurts is good, Jalen Hurts has to has to know that he has to face negatives as well. I feel like Trevor Lawrence, Trevor Lawrence and Calvin Ridley are going to have a great year. That's why I'm leaving them at 3, and that's why, that 1 through 5, Jalen Hurts is a top 5 quarterback, and that's why I'm leaving him at 5. So breaking down the Packers game, or the Packers AJ Brown and Jalen Hurts. AJ Brown had, through 17 games last year, AJ Brown had 145 targets, 88 receptions, 1,496 yards, 11 touchdowns, and one first down yardage. With Jalen Hurts, he had 3,701 yards, completed 360 passes, 66.5% passes completed, 1.3 interception percent, 22 touchdowns, 6 interceptions, QBR 101.5. With Aaron Rodgers, he completed 3,695 yards, completed 350 passes completed, 64.6 passes percent, 91.1 QBR, 2.2 interception rate, 26 touchdowns, 12 interceptions. With Jared Goff, passes completed, 65.1 passes completed, 382 passes completed, 4,438 yards, QBR rate 99.3, 29 touchdowns, 7 interceptions, 1.2 interception percent. Trevor Lawrence, QBR 95.2, passes completed 66.2, passes completed, yards 4,113, yards completed 387, 25 touchdowns, 8 interceptions, 1.4% interception rate. So, excuse me. So, that is why I put, even though Jalen Hurts had a better QBR rate, I'm still having Aaron Rodgers ahead because I feel like Aaron Rodgers is going to have a better storyline than Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts is going to have an incredible storyline, but Aaron Rodgers is, what he's going to do in New York is going to be incredible. So with Garrett Wilson, he had 147 targets, 83 receptions, 1,103 yards, 4 touchdowns, 56 first down appearances. First down. And I messed up on A.J. Brown. He had 54 first downs catches. So I made a mistake there. Amon St. Brown started 16 games, 146 targets, 106 receptions, 1,161 yards, 6 touchdowns, and 68 first down catches. With Calvin Ridley, this gets interesting. Back in 2020, his best year in an Atlanta Falcons uniform, he played 15 games, 143 targets, 90 receptions, 1,374 yards, 9 touchdowns, 65 first down catches. So it will get interesting down the line. And Derek Carr, with his stat last year, he started 15 games, 305 complete pass, 60.8% completed, 3,522 yards, 24 touchdowns, 14 interceptions, 2.8 interception percent. Chris Olave, 59 target, 119 targets, 72 receptions, 1,042 yards, 4 touchdowns, and 48 first downs. So yeah, I mean I can see why you put them in the top 10, but still, I don't expect them to be in the top 10. I see better passing duo guys in there that are better than Derek Barnett and Chris Olave. I want them to play together first. And I understand about Aaron Rodgers and Garrett Wilson, but look at the talent. Aaron Rodgers is a little bit better than Derek Carr, and Garrett Wilson is a little bit better than Chris Olave. So that's why I put them ahead, and I kicked Derek Carr and Chris Olave out of the top 10. They're top 15, no doubt. I'm still not counting them out, but I'm just saying Jalen Hurts should be in that spot. So, talking about Aaron Rodgers, and this is what I don't like, because my friend is a Packers fan, and I just don't like the Packers anymore. I did, but, all we talk about is the Packers, and, I don't like them. So, but I will give the Packers credit here. Before Aaron Rodgers got traded, Aaron Rodgers developed Christian Watson. So, what I was talking about the Packers is Aaron Rodgers, before he got traded from Green Bay to New York, he really developed Christian Watson into a great wide receiver. For year 2, he's going to excel with Jordan Love, I feel like. And Christian Watson really struggled at the beginning of the season last year with Aaron Rodgers, and they created that relationship towards the middle of the season and towards the end, and they really took off. And with the 2 games that really made Christian Watson become that number 1 this year is against Philadelphia. He had 6 targets, 4 receptions, 110 yards, 1 touchdown, and he made so many great catches in that Philadelphia matchup. And during that play, the play was the play was for the defense Christian Watson was on the right side. Marcus Epps was covering Christian Watson, and Christian Watson was lined up on the right side of the line of scrimmage. And Marcus Epps really didn't fully follow him all the way. He stopped in the middle of the field to continue, and Christian Watson continued to run like a slant towards the left side of the field. And really, Marcus Epps stopped, and that really made a hole in the middle of the field. Marcus Epps' assignment was just stop in the middle of the field. He didn't get called and say, follow Christian Watson all the way. And that really made the play, that play was having the defense make that hole in the middle of the field so Watson can succeed even more. And against Miami, he once again has had so many catches. So week 12 was Philadelphia. Game 2 was against Miami. And, Watson, once again, made that catch. Made a difficult catch. And that made Watson I'm sorry. So, defender number 21 with Miami, Aaron Rodgers made a fake to the running back. It was a short pass, and it was he tossed it to Christian Watson for the first down, and Christian Watson really got hit by the defender really hard by number 21 on Miami, and Christian Watson, held on, and that made Christian Watson become that number one for Green Bay because he made so many tough catches, and when you have so many catches, that's going to be a number one, starting role. So discussing the Hurts and the Brown and AJ Brown of why they should be in the top 5 passing duo. This is what I came up with against the Niners. Okay, we understood why we won against the Niners. It's because Nick Bosa was injury prone in that game, and a lot of injury prone players were on that team that were out. Ward I think was hurt. Christian McCaffrey played very well. The running backs on both sides of the ball played tremendous in that game. And so, the defense really showed up as well. And Jalen Hurts really, showed the Eagles why he got drafted by the Eagles, and A.J. Brown showed why he got traded to the Philadelphia Eagles, because he made so many catches that, it was really, really great to see, and that's why A.J. Brown should be in the top 5, and Jalen Hurts. So, it was a 14... It was... So, this was against the... This was a... So the Philadelphia Eagles, we understood why the Niners lost in that NFC Championship game, because of Brock Purdy getting hurt early in the game and Johnson coming in for the backup role, fourth-string quarterback. And we understood that Nick Bosa wasn't the Nick Bosa that showed up in previous games, and that's why the Niners were the best team in the NFC at one point until we played the Niners in the playoffs, and we just shut them down on the defense, and it was crazy. But I'll tell you this: the 49ers will beat the Eagles because Deebo Samuel will be ready to play. We tackled down Deebo Samuel. We shut down Deebo Samuel. The running backs on both sides of the ball, the 49ers and Christian McCaffrey, Miles Sanders, and Gainwell and Boston Scott showed up to play as well. Jalen Hurts showed up to play too. The defense showed up as well, and that's why we swallowed both quarterbacks. The 49ers had no answer to win in that game. So the 49ers... So, A.J. Brown. The Philadelphia Eagles are so good in utilizing A.J. Brown that they had to use him in so many creative plays. That you can use him in a long pass, short pass, or a bubble pass. So, really, really Brown, was on the left side of Jalen Hurts, stationed as a getting ready to receive his short pass, and Scott, number 3, when Jalen Hurts passed the ball to AJ Brown, short pass, bubble pass on the left side, AJ Brown just followed Boston Scott as a defender, and AJ Brown followed him and got a first down. His speed was that good. The reason why I think the 49ers will beat the Philadelphia Eagles, one of the reasons, they took the Eagles' former top defensive end or tackle player in Javon Hargrave. He signed a 4-year deal, and against the 49ers last year, when Javon Hargrave was on the Eagles, he had 1 sack, 1 quarterback hit, and 1 total loss. And last year he had 11 sacks, 37 solo tackles, 23 assists, 16 quarterback hits, 10 total loss, and 60 combined tackles. So he, Javon Hargrave, in that game goes to his right last year. And really the defender, number 69, Javon Hargrave went up to 69, and Hargrave just muscled number 69, and he pushed number 69 to the side, because when you go through, you have to lose the offensive lineman, lost some balance, and that's why he couldn't have full control of Hargrave. And that's when he tackled the 49ers quarterback. So, the question is, could he do it to Jalen Hurts as well? I'll say maybe. But, this year I feel like the offensive line will hold up on Javon Hargrave. But, listen, anything is possible. I feel like that's one of the reasons why Javon Hargrave will break down on Jalen Hurts. That's going to be a tough matchup for the Birds. That's going to be a true test, since the quarterback will be ready to play. And against the Chiefs in the Super Bowl, that's when AJ Brown grew a lot on me. Because when you are in the Super Bowl, you have to show up as well. So Jalen Hurts' his arm strength was good. If Jalen Hurts and AJ Brown do the same thing that they did in the Super Bowl against the Chiefs, against this tough schedule, I feel like the Eagles will have no problem, and they can, beat down on any team that they want to. But until then, the 49ers will be a tough team. Minnesota, like I said, they didn't really achieve anything besides getting that wide receiver Addison from college. I don't know if he's going to be it. They lost Dalvin Cook. They lost a lot of good players, Patrick Peterson. They lost a lot of good players in the offense and the defense. So we'll see what happens with that. And when we played the Vikings last year, Darius Slay literally held on to Justin Jefferson like glue, and Justin Jefferson struggled mightily. So against the Chiefs, AJ Brown really showed up for the Eagles, and for the Chiefs, it was AJ Brown scored and made the Eagles go up 14-7. And AJ Brown was stationed on the right side of the line of scrimmage. and Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts made a great pass, but the ball was traveling too far past A.J. Brown. That number 21, the defender that was covering A.J. Brown, just stopped in his tracks in the end zone, and A.J. Brown just kept on going in the end zone, and he caught the ball and touchdown. So that was a great deep threat by Jalen Hurts to A.J. Brown. If he makes those catches more fluently and more polished, I think that will be a dangerous thing to have with A.J. Brown and Jalen Hurts. And another thing is, at the end of the second quarter, A.J. Brown does a swim move over number 35, gets the ball, and goes to the left, and he gets the ball, runs, and number 35, he does a juke move on number 35 before the line of scrimmage. He made a move on number 35. He juked him out, and he did a swim move before he did the juke move. And when number 35 was cutting to A.J. Brown, that's when A.J. Brown made the juke move on number 35. And his footwork was perfect in that game. And he gained extra 20 yards. That's what I'm talking about by the star of your team. So, the question is, I feel like Jalen Hurts and I feel like A.J. Brown and Jalen Hurts will be in the top 5 passing duo this year if they continue to do this. And thank you for listening to Sinks Chat. Thank you for listening to this episode, and I'll hopefully see you next time. Thank you.